Imagine this. You're standing in front of a woman who seems completely out of your league. She's confident, stunning, the kind of woman who has men wrapped around her finger without even trying. She's used to being pursued, to men tripping over themselves to win her attention. But somehow, she's looking at you differently, not as just another guy trying too hard, not as someone easily dismissed, but as something intriguing. She's curious about you, and that curiosity, that is power. Most men don't understand this. They think women are logical in love, that they choose partners based on checklists, stability, looks, social status. But that's not how attraction works. Women don't fall for a man. They fall for an experience, the way you make them feel. And most men, they play it too safe. They try to be nice, agreeable, predictable, thinking that being available, kind, and generous will make a woman fall for them. It won't, because attraction isn't built on comfort. It's built on emotion, on tension, contrast, and unpredictability. Why do you think women fantasize about bad boys, mysterious strangers, forbidden love? Not because they want trouble, but because they are addicted to the feeling of uncertainty, excitement, and the unknown. They crave something that pulls them out of their everyday routine, something that disrupts the ordinary. But here's where most men fail. They become part of that routine. They text the same way every day, agree with everything she says, make her feel comfortable, but not alive. And that's why so many men get stuck in the friend zone. They are offering safety when she craves excitement. So what actually works? The key is emotional contrast. Women don't fall for the guy who's just nice. They fall for the man who makes them feel something. And the easiest way to do this is by breaking patterns. Most men try to impress a woman by showering her with attention. But attention that is freely given has no value. What if, instead of always being available, you became a little unpredictable? What if you weren't always the first to text, weren't always so eager to please? Women are wired to be drawn to men they have to work for. Not in a manipulative way, but in a way that signals, I'm not like the others. And speaking of things women won't admit, here's something that might surprise you. Women don't respect men who give themselves away too easily. Society tells men that they should be accommodating, always agreeing, always showing how much they care. But reality tells a different story. The men women chase are never the ones who chased first. Think about it. A woman will never say, I want a man who is a challenge. But look at who she chooses. It's never the guy who makes himself too available. It's the one she feels she has to earn. Women are naturally drawn to men who set the tone in the relationship. Men who own their time, their mission, their self-respect. Here's a secret most men don't realize. Women test men constantly. And most men fail without even knowing it. She might cancel plans last minute, just to see if you'll chase. She might push your buttons, just to see if you'll break. She might act distant, just to see if you'll beg for her attention. And the moment you fail that test, she loses respect for you. Because deep down, women don't just want a man who adores them. They want a man they can't control. This is where most guys go wrong. They think, if I just show her how much I care, she'll want me. But women don't fall for men who give them everything. They fall for men who make them earn it. The moment she realizes that you have standards, that you're willing to walk away rather than accept disrespect, everything changes. That's when a woman stops testing and starts respecting you. And that respect, that's the foundation of real attraction. And here's something even more powerful. Women are addicted to uncertainty. Think about the last time you were hooked on a TV show. What kept you glued? It wasn't the predictable moments. It was the tension, the mystery, the feeling of not knowing what happens next. Attraction works the same way. The moment a woman knows she has you, the chase is over. But if you stay just out of reach, if she can't quite figure you out, that's when her mind obsesses over you. Women don't want a man who is overly eager to please. They want a man who keeps them on their toes. And most men ruin this by being too available, too open, too predictable. If you instantly reply to every message, if you constantly tell her how much you like her, if you lay out all your emotions too soon, what's left for her to wonder about? What's left for her to chase? So, Here's what you need to ask yourself. Are you playing her game? Or are you making her play yours? Because the moment you shift the dynamic, the moment you understand how to trigger attraction on a deep psychological level, that's when everything changes. And this is just the beginning. What comes next? Well, let's just say, if you really want to control the way a woman sees you, you need to understand the one thing that no one is talking about. Stick around, because in the next part, I'm going to break down something that will completely change the way you approach women forever. And this is where it gets even more fascinating. Because once you start applying this, you'll notice something intriguing happening. She begins to lean in more, to ask more questions, to be just a little more uncertain about where she stands with you. And that uncertainty, that's exactly what makes attraction grow. Think about it. What keeps people hooked on a great movie or a compelling story? It's the unpredictability, the unknown, the tension that keeps them invested. When a woman feels like she knows everything about you, she categorizes you. But when you remain just slightly out of reach, just a bit more mysterious than the men she's used to, she can't help but think about you. Now, let's go deeper. There's another element to this that most men completely overlook, and that's the power of pace. If you rush the process, if you give her all your attention too soon, if you express all your emotions before she's even had a chance to feel something herself, you strip away the most intoxicating part of attraction, the slow, delicious build-up. Women don't just fall for a man in an instant. They fall for the feeling he creates over time, the gradual unraveling of curiosity, excitement, and desire. That's why pacing your interactions is crucial. You don't need to play games or pretend to be someone you're not, but you do need to let the tension build. Send a message and let her wait. Hold eye contact, then look away. Let her wonder just a little, because when a woman is thinking about you when you're not around, that's when you've won the game. And let's not forget something even more primal: physicality. Women respond to physical energy in a way most men never realize. It's not about being overly aggressive or making big, obvious moves. It's about subtle confidence. The way you hold yourself, the way you move, the way you occupy space. Do you fidget? Do you shrink yourself to appear non-threatening? Or do you stand firm, comfortable in your own presence? Women pick up on this instantly, often without even realizing it themselves. A man who carries himself with quiet confidence, who doesn't seek approval in every movement, instantly stands apart. It's the difference between being overlooked and being unforgettable. And here's where it gets really interesting. There's a reason why some men who aren't necessarily the best looking, the richest, or the most traditionally successful, still attract women effortlessly. It's because they understand a simple truth. Attraction isn't about ticking off a checklist of traits. It's about making a woman feel something she can't quite explain. And that's where most men go wrong. They focus on what they think women want: nice gestures, agreeable conversations, constant availability, without realizing that these things, when given too freely, actually kill attraction. Women don't just want a good man. They want a man they feel drawn to, a man who excites them, challenges them, and makes them feel alive. So let's put this into perspective. Imagine you're in a conversation with a woman. Instead of nodding along and agreeing with everything she says, you challenge her playfully. Instead of being overly polite, you tease her just a little. Instead of making yourself too available, you keep just enough distance to make her wonder. Do you see the difference? It's about shifting the dynamic so that she's the one trying to figure you out. And the best part? Once you start applying this, you'll realize how effortless attraction can be. You won't need to chase, impress, or convince. Women will naturally be drawn to you because you've tapped into something deeper than words or appearances. You've tapped into what truly moves them. So here's what I want to know. Have you ever noticed how women react differently to certain men? Maybe a guy who isn't traditionally attractive, but always seems to have women around him? Or someone who barely tries, yet women chase him? Tell me your thoughts in the comments. I want to hear your experiences. And if you're enjoying this and want to truly master the deeper psychology of attraction, make sure to subscribe because we are just getting started. See you in the next one.